afternoon to all the participants. I know our group is standing between you and the lunch, but we won't take much of time on that. I have been given this task of speaking about the role of valuation models in the standards. When I was given this topic, I was just confused whether it is the role of the standards in the valuation models or is it the other way around. So later on, when I slightly worked on it, so I got it was clear that it is the role of the valuation model in the standard, but actually both of the things work intertwined. You have to work both ways, role of the valuation standards in the models and role of the models in the standards. It works both ways. So to begin with, I'd like to highlight that we all have been using models in some way. Earlier, we were using the manual systems, which later became the Excel sheet, worksheets, or complex advanced Excel sheets. There are softwares available, and there are third-party data sources and softwares available, which we use as valuation model, but there is no answerability. So there is a dire need of standardizing the models as well, and this has been recognized, or more particularly in the complex valuation systems, which include financial instruments, most of it. And for example, if we take up the valuation through a mechanism, discounted cash flow or an option pricing, these models are so complex that they can't even be touched manually, and you have to depend on the multiple models to come to the conclusion. And if something goes off somewhere within those models and sub-models, then the entire output is challenged, it's challengeable, and the response to this has been, not very clear. So it is a good idea on the part of IVSC to have come up with the absolute standard on the valuation model. I am quoting it from the exposure draft that they have come out with. There were slight references to the valuation models in their earlier standards of 2022, which is currently operative, but it has been few paragraphs only. Now in the exposure draft, they have come up with a valuation model of this entire standard on valuation model in general standards. So I'd like to begin that with the key terms. Can you take it backward? Can you show us the backward slide? You moved ahead. Yeah. So these are the principal terms, key terms that we use in this subject. First is the valuation model, what it is. A quantitative implementation of a method in whole or in part that converts input data into output used in the development of value. So these are the words that we are drawing from the exposure drafts. Valuation standard, we know the principles, the processes, policies, and the procedures to arrive, which we apply for the determination of valuation. A very important term is the valuation risk, which we would be catering to in this address. The risk that the resultant value is not appropriate for the intended use. So this is the concern that we have to address, and the entire exposure draft is about addressing the valuation risks only. Now, when we are working with valuation models, the challenge remains that whether they are able to cater to the requirements of valuer principles or to the valuation principles. While valuer principles are about ethics, integrity, and competence of valuer, professionalism, confidentiality, impartiality, etc., the valuation principles, they are more of mechanical in nature. You know about the scope of work, purpose, approaches, identities, and limitations, etc. So in valuation models, what we're trying to do is we're trying to address the variance that is evolved out of processes involved in valuation. So while valuation models can fully cater to the valuation principles, the variability related to the valuer's principle, can that be brought down? So that would be a challenge, and that remains to be seen how they come up with, because it's still in exposure, and actual standards would come out sometime in January, as Nicholas just told us. So the overall impact of adopting the valuation models in the standard would be, what we expect is that it would be bringing out more consistency in the process. It will have enhanced objectivity, enhanced transparency in the process, compliance with other standards like general and technical, and lowering of the valuation risk. Next slide, please. The impact, as I said, is enhanced objectivity, transparency, and lowering of the valuation risk. Next slide, please. The utility of valuation model in standards would be to a certain extent they can help achieve the requirements of general standards and the technical standards. The need of valuation models has arisen, to my understanding, to absorb the large number of market participants who were not under the ambit of valuation standard earlier, because valuation standards were mostly catering to the asset classes that were very well known, like land, properties, and interest in the property, and plant machinery. So the financial instruments were not totally into it. So the valuation models would be catering to such requirements. Next slide, please. Valuation models can also enhance users' ability to understand and apply the standards. So this will be the user's perspective. Next one, please. The entire slides are about sensitizing all the participants on the this aspect of standards. The characteristics that have been defined involve the fitness for the use of valuation model. A valuer should be using those fitness tests. It should be that model is accurate, it is appropriate for the purpose, it is able to cater to the timeliness and the completeness of the entire assignment, and it should be resulting in the transparency of the process. A choice of model should have the selection must be based on the maximization of the characteristics which are suitable for the valuation. Under all circumstances, it says that valuer must ensure that model meets the needs of intended use. Most of the time it happens that we end up using a different model for different type of situation. So appropriateness of model is the key. There would be a requirement of documentation of every aspect of the model that will be used for the valuation purpose. The documentation must be sufficient so that any other peer valuer could also see what has been done. This is your documentation should be enough to support the selection of model. It should be enough to give a transparent view of data sources, data and inputs have been that have been used are authentic. Valuation models shall be used as a quality control mechanism. They are also currently used as that by certain organizations, but not everywhere. Quality control mechanisms would include, creation of model, testing, back testing, and validation, and all. So, and it would be an ongoing, continuous process with the models, which would establish the quality checks within the valuation process. To look at it, there is no model which is without any error, without any risk. So there are some inherent risks in the valuation modeling. The two fundamental risks are that model is incorrect. There is some conceptual error that has gone into creating the model. And second, a bigger risk is that we misapply the model at wrong, modeling at wrong place. So understanding the key inputs that have gone into the valuation modeling is a very, very important task. And this brings the role of the professional at the forefront. As I said, if you were valuing something like an option and if you do not understand the nuances of what has gone into it and simply applying it on a software and coming out with a conclusion, that would not serve the purpose for this standard. So the models have a role in the valuation standards, and valuation standards would make it happen. So it's a two-way, and both have roles for each other. And I don't know what shape it would be coming in actually in the final draft, final standards. But it is the need of the times. So we should better be focusing on these. That's my submission to all my fellow participants who are practicing as valuers. Thank you. That will be all from my side.